welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzoma. Here's what's coming up on the program. The word inconclusive returns to our political lexicon as the All Progressives Congress leadership declares the governorship primary conducted by Governor Hope Uzodinma in Edo State as inconclusive. All eyes on the People's Democratic Party in Edo State as it holds governorship primary tomorrow. Who emerges from the King contest? You get to know when the time is right tomorrow. Concerned Nigerians continue to criticize the authorities over rising cost of living, and questions are being asked about the purchasing power of the current 30,000 naira minimum wage. Thanks again for joining us on the program where we track political happenings across the country. Just 5 days after the All Progressives Congress governorship primary was conducted and the winner announced by the Imo State Governor and Chairman of the Election Committee, the National Working Committee of the party has overturned that result of the exercise, declaring it as inconclusive. That exercise had declared Honorable Dennis Idahosa as winner, but at separate locations in Edo State, 3 other candidates claimed victory, including Monday Okpabolo, Dekere Anemaro, and a 4th candidate who is unverified. In a statement by the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Mr. Felix Moka, the APC says a new primary will be held tomorrow, Thursday, February the 22nd, to determine its flag bearer for the September 2024 governorship election in the state. The decision was taken after the party convened an emergency National Working Committee meeting on Tuesday night to resolve the lingering crisis arising from that particular primary. Well, I wish I could show you the faces of some of the men who were declared winners of that exercise last week, Saturday. But let's see how things play out tomorrow. There you have it, Monday Okpabolo, Dennis Idahosa, and Emero Dekere all claiming victory, and one other person unverified that have gone in for the party's ticket. Let's move on now to other parties, this time the ruling party in the state. That's the PDP. Ahead of the election in September, political parties are now conducting all of these primaries according to the timetable presented by INEC to ensure they have a flag bearer for the contest. Now, the PDP are scheduled to hold its own tomorrow in Benin City, the Edo State capital. And it's going to be an indirect primary, unlike the APC, which was a direct primary. There are 10 aspirants that have been declared cleared by the NWC of the party for tomorrow's exercise. They are the incumbent Deputy Governor, Mr. Philip Shaibu, Aswe Godalo, Omorege Ogbeide Ihama, Felix Akabwe, and Anselm Ojezwa. So you have the first 5 there. Others are Omosade Igbenidion, Arthur Esene, Martin Ohoboyi, Osaro Anaiwo, and Balogun Sunday. So those are the 10 names that will be hoping that at the end of tomorrow, they will be the party's flag bearer. I'm talking about the People's Democratic Party in Edo State. And that leads us to our very first conversation on the program, which is the primaries that are coming up tomorrow in Edo State. And we're being joined by Mr. Jimo Ijegbai, a former commissioner and former deputy chief of staff and a delegate at this particular primary. He joins us via Zoom from Edo State, Benin City in the Edo State capital. Mr. Ijegbai, thank you so much for coming on the program. Mr. Ijegbai, if you can hear me. All right, I want to be sure, Mr. Ijegbai, you can hear me. You're one of the delegates in that particular exercise. Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you very clearly, Mr. Jeffrey.
All right, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on the program. I think the basic point to begin is with the preparations ahead of that exercise. We've seen experiences of other political parties, so it's only natural that we ask how prepared is the PDP tomorrow?
Well, for me, the PDP is the only democratic party we have in Nigeria and in Edo State. we are very, very prepared as an organized and disciplined party. We are prepared for the primaries that is coming up tomorrow. With 10 aspirants seeking the ticket of the PDP in Edo State. I'm sure that we'll come out with the best conducted primary in the annals of this country.
All right, Mr. Ejegba, I'm going to ask you questions that look very simplistic and almost naive. So I'm going to ask you this question based on what we've seen as outcomes of other parties. Where is the venue of this exercise going to take place? Who is the returning officer of this exercise?
The venue for tomorrow's primary is the Ogbe Hard Court in the stadium in Benin. It is clearly stated, and all the aspirants and the delegates are aware where the venue is. And the returning officer is the governor of Delta State.
That's Governor Sheriff Oborowore.
Very correct, sir.
Yeah, yes, I know. I wanted to put that on the record because, yeah, I'm sure you know where we're coming from. Now, there has been some rumbling in ahead of this particular exercise because there are speculations that there are plans to impose a candidate. You're one of those they call the super delegates because of your political pedigree. And this has caused some issues among some of the aspirants. Do you see this affecting how things will play out tomorrow?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, in Edo State, I have only seen one aspirant that has moved around the 192 wards and the 18 local government of the state. There are pretenders, those who say, I want to just be an aspirant for the sake of being called an aspirant. Only Aswa Ighodalo has moved around the 18 local government of the state and the 192 wards.
Well, despite the fact that...
There is no intention by any person.
Go ahead. We're listening to you.
There is no intention by anybody.
Please go ahead.
From any quarter to impose any candidate on our Edo State. In democracy, the majority will have their way, the minority will have their say. The important thing is that the exercise is going to be transparent, fair, and just. And at the end of the day, we'll come out with a candidate that we know will continue to take Edo to the next level.
And so when you say things like there is only one candidate, it sounds like playing into this, speculations about an already made decisions, if that is coming from you, because the NWC actually screened 10 candidates. Whether or not they went across all the local governments and all the wards to contend. 10 aspirants, I beg your pardon. 10 aspirants for the exercise. Whether or not they went around to, campaign and all of that, that's a different kettle of fish. So are you seeing why people are worried about, the leaning of the party towards a particular candidate?
The party is not asking us to go for a particular person, but in the course of the electionary and reaching out to the delegates, in my local government, I'm from Onwa East local government, former local government chairman, executive chairman, former commissioner for local government, former commissioner for education, former deputy chief of staff. I have only seen one aspirant that has come to Onwa people to ask them for their votes. You do not sit down in your home and think that people will come and kill behind you. This is democracy. You try to be persuasive. You try to convince people to support you in your particular bid to be governor of Edo State. But if you sit down in the fortress of your home and think that the electorate will just go and vote for you, you are joking. It does not happen.
All right. So let me read out the name of all the aspirants. I know why I'm asking this question. The aspirants, yes. There are 10 in number. The deputy governor, Mr. Philip Shaibu, Aswa Ighodalo, Omoroge Ogbede-Ihama, Felix Akabwe, Anselmo Jesua. We also have Omosade Igbenidion, Ato Esene, Martins Uhumoboy, Osaro Onaiwo, and Balogun Sunday. So you feel any of them, apart from Mr. Aswa, is not ready for this contest? Is that what you're saying? Why you call them pretenders?
Like I said earlier on, I'm from Onwa East. None of the other 9 aspirants have visited us to canvass for vote. And democracy doesn't go that way. Democracy is about reaching out to the people, selling what you have to the people, to the delegates. But in this particular contest, I have only seen one aspirant, Asua Igodalo, who has moved around the 18 local government and the 192 wards.
This may actually be because I have seen the Deputy Governor, Philip Shaiba, I've seen Ansela Mojeswa doing media rounds, raising concerns, maybe campaigning directly on all of that. We've seen how things ended up with the APC, and they are going to do their election again tomorrow to conclude. Is this not a recipe for another inconclusive election? The feelers you're getting.
The PDP is a democratic party. For the other party that says the election is inconclusive, I'm a little bit taken by surprise. Because I read that the national chairman was congratulating an aspirant they say have won. So I don't know what they are talking about, inconclusiveness of that particular primary. That is a matter for another day. And I'm also aware that going by the Electoral Act, there are a certain number of days you ought to give notice that you want to conduct primaries. I don't know what they mean by incomplete primary. But for us in the PDP, our primary is going to be fair, just, and it's going to be very transparent. I can assure you of that.
All right, in telling us what to expect tomorrow as we wrap up this conversation, exactly how many delegates are we expecting from the 192 wards? How many delegates in total are we expecting?
We have 192 wards in Edo State, and each ward has 3 delegates that are going to vote. In addition to that, we have 18 national delegates who are going to join in making this choice as to who will be the flag bearer of PDP in Edo State. I don't see any problem at all. I know that the primary is going to be, we are going to teach the other parties what democracy should be. PDP, for me, is the only democratic party we have in Edo State and in Nigeria.
All right, let's see how things play out. I want to thank you for coming on the program, Mr. Jimoh Ijegbai. You're regarded as a super delegate for this election because of your political pedigree. People within your class are considered super delegates. We want to wish the People's Democratic Party. We'll be right here by the grace of God to see how things play out, and we'll report it as it happens. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you, Mr. Jeffrey. We are going to do Edo proud. We will do the nation proud.
That's the best. That's what we wish for you. Let's move on now to other stories. This time we head out to Rivers State. A political storm seemed to be building within the Rivers APC as the elected officials of the party are insistent that they are still in charge of the party. That's in the state. This is in spite or despite the fact that they were dissolved or a dissolution took place as announced by the party's National Working Committee. At a press briefing in Port Harcourt, the elected chairman, Mr. Emeka Bekee, and the publicity secretary had debunked report that he, Mr. Bekee, had now aligned himself with the FCT minister Nyesom Wike following a picture in which both were seen smiling and exchanging pleasantry at that particular event.
Yesterday, the Isobo Jack, who happened to be the president of the Boys Company of Nigeria, which I'm a member, I'm a founding member of the club, had his 60th birthday and invited her. I was coming from Okrika, went for Fudora, and there was a time frame for the party, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. When I got in there, at about 6 o'clock, as I walked into the hall, I saw a group of people, I saw the minister, I saw a few other persons. And I shook a few of them. Some of them said, "Look, why? Say hi to the honorable minister." I said, "No, there's no, we don't flow at all." At the end of the day, because I want to be a gentleman, I just shake everybody. When I get to you, say, we started yapping and all that. And I noticed that this was, and I said to him, now I'm talking to you. Tomorrow one day, these pictures will trend all over the place. And I said it clearly to Chief Imaya, I'm a member of Rotimi political family, and I remain firm with Rotimi Chipikamichi. And as a civilized person, if I get to an environment where I see people that probably by the grace of God, they are, I should have to send president to not just to yell at them or quarrel at them and walk away at them. I don't think that's, for me, I still remember where I belong in politics. And anybody who knows me that I would never, which is another option for me at all in politics. Is that an option?
All right, the man you've seen in that particular video joins us on the program, Mr. Emeka Bekee, elected chairman of the party. Their exco was dissolved by the National Working Committee. Mr. Emeka Bekee, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon.
We saw that reaction coming from you, and we're wondering what gave rise to this new posturing, given what has happened in the past?
Well, basically, what happened on Saturday, and we've seen our hospital, as well as the member of All Progressive Congress, as duly elected chairman of the party in the state, and I still remain to be the chairman of the party in the state. We're already in court. We want to hear what the verdict of court will say. And that's where we are right now.
So the context now is that when we look at Rivers State, there are two people claiming leadership of the party. So my natural question to you, this claim of yours that you're still the chairman of the Rivers State APC, I know you said it's still sub judice, but wouldn't you have waited maybe for the outcome of that? What was the plea in your case? Maybe we'll start from there, because your National Working Committee is not relating with you as a chairman.
Well, relating with me, I have a mandate of a tenure, and my tenure is going to expire 2025 October. And the National Working Committee does not have any moral right to dissolve any state ESCO. It's only the NEC that have the right. I don't know the reason why they did that.
Mr. Beke, when it comes to dissolutions and things like this, I don't think it's the morality that is in question. We're looking at the legality. So what provision...
Okay, we're looking at illegality.
I didn't get that.
Are you looking at illegality?
No, you said they don't have any moral right. I'm saying in this context, nobody talks about morality. We're talking about whether they have the legal backing or they don't have the legal backing. So I want to find out from you, when you look at the article of your constitution, where do you think they relied on to say your group or your ESCO is no longer in charge of the party? And what article in your constitution are you also relying on to hold on to the leadership of the party? Because we have to walk by the law, not by morality.
Well, I Article 7 of the new, we have the old constitution and the new constitution, does not empower them. The only people that is empowered to dissolve is the NEC. Is the NEC of the party. NEC, in the last NEC meeting we had, which I was member of the NEC, I attended that meeting. There is no time we pass the power to NWC to play that role. And that's why we're contesting what they did in the court.
Okay. So is there, besides the issue that is not sub judice that I would not like to go into so that I will not run foul of the law, is there a conversation about some level of middle ground outside of course that are being proposed to you by the people who are now running the party in the state for which you're contesting against?
There's no way we can flow together. There's no point we've ever made before to discuss anything. I know the last time I got a call from the National Secretary for me to provide some certain document for them, and I said, I'm not going to do that today. I won't provide those documents. And I can tell you as I speak to you, all the documents of the party still under my custody as duly elected chairman of the party.
So it appears that you don't feel like your party is in charge of the State House of Assembly, because we understand 25 or 26 members are defected from the PDP to the APC. Do you feel like, as a person and as your group, do you feel like you're in charge, or you're still a bit aloof as to what is going on?
First, I'm not going to discuss that because the matter is in the court. Whatever the court decides, that's where we can know, we can make a statement. Right now it's in the court. You know the law in the country, you know the law of this country. You know what the constitution talk about. If you leave your policy and to another party, that's why I don't want to.
Okay, no. Okay, so for you, you just want to leave the law court to decide all of this at the end of the exercise.
Exactly.
So we have seen a level of conundrum in Rivers politics, and there were pictures that showed you with the Honorable Minister for the FCT, and that was a premise for which people were saying that maybe Mr. Bekea is thinking of realigning himself with the Nyesom Wike group. Maybe you can give us that explanation even further now that you're on live television.
Yes, let me make it loud and clear. In politics, you have your different camp. You don't need to quarrel. We're in a modern world today where you see your opponent, you decide it's your enemy. No. I walked in the general of the Boys Company of Nigeria, who happened to be a member of my club, and I'm a founding member of that club. He had his 60th birthday and invited us for that birthday. And I left the funeral at about 5:30 to 6 o'clock, got into the venue of the function. When I walked into the gentleman's house, I saw the Honorable Minister. And I greeted a few people who were there, present and all that. And a few of my friends said, look, you're too distant, why don't you say hi to? You know what I mean? And I walked to the Honorable Minister, somebody I've known who have been in simple family under the leadership of Right Honorable political family. And I greeted him. I know normal we're all from the same equality nationality, and we started having ourselves, and we started laughing. And I noticed when I was, sending present to you, camera was all over flying. I just turned to them and I said, this will tomorrow they will say after. Well, let me make it clear to Don and life team. I still remain under Right Honorable Rotimi Chibike political family. He's my leader. I'll stand with him any day, any time. I've never, and I will not join the other side of the party.
I must thank you, Mr. Emeka Bekee, the chairman of the Rivers APC, as he says he is. But it's still a contentious issue. You know, sometimes you politicians, you make the work difficult for us because we're trying to walk around the fine lines of the law. So I would say the Emeka Bekee group leadership for safety. So thank you so much for coming on the program. I must appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, we're not done. We'll still have more of this for you, but this time we're switching gears from core politics to other issues around the economy. The hardship being experienced over the high cost of living is becoming quite unbearable in most parts of the country. In Rivers State, for instance, crew sampled some commodity prices in the market and discovered that the prices of essential food have now almost quadrupled. Our correspondent Deborah Agbalama has this report.
The high cost of living has sparked off protests and debates across the country, with Nigerians calling on the federal government to do something fast about the upward trajectory of the prices of goods and services as well as food items. We visit Creek Road Market within the Port Harcourt metropolis to experience the challenges faced by residents.
So what did you get from your calculation?
Okay, from the calculation, all this one excluded, only these few items on top, 30,015 naira.
30,015 naira?
Yes.
Which is 15 naira above the minimum wage. Here we're talking about a plain bucket of beans, a plain bucket of rice, just about 3 sachets of groundnut oil, and then tin tomatoes, 2 packs of spaghetti, and just these few items, and then some tin tomatoes. And you have 30,015 naira.
Yes.
Already 15 naira above the present minimum wage.
Some traders highlight the significant price increases compared to the previous years.
If you are to buy all these things, only this one costs 35,000, and it's a half bag of rice. All this one summed together, they are 38,000 naira. So if you should calculate 73,000 in total, all these things come out 73,000 naira.
Broker carton is 74,000 naira. We used to buy it 30,000, 28,000. What about the high switch? There is no way to buy it again. We used to buy it 14,000. Now it's 45,000. Now they are telling us again it's 52,000 naira. How are we going to sell it?
Many state governments are weary of these suggestions, oftentimes saying they cannot afford to pay. Civil servants at the Rivers State Secretariat believe a gradual increase will solve some of these issues.
The ideal minimum wage should be 200,000 naira. Looking at the economic hardship that is ravaging Nigerians.
Encourage farmers and let the farmers have more product in the market. Even though we have 50,000 minimum, you can survive.
Chairman of the Nigeria Labour Congress in Rivers State, Alex Agwonwo, is adamant about the demand for 1 million naira minimum wage, citing the government's failure to honor previous agreements with Labour.
The rate, the price of goods is soaring that Labour may have no choice than to propose 1 million for minimum wage. We have no choice than to propose 1 million. And it's very obvious, because if the price of goods, price of food continue to increase, then what will be the determining factor of a minimum wage?
As the debate over minimum wage continues, the plight of low-income earners persists, underscoring the urgency for decisive action to alleviate their sufferings amidst the economic downturn that is also affecting even the average income earners. Deborah Abalama, Channels Television News.
And that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and, of course, your usual company. And don't forget, tomorrow we're back again by the grace of God to follow up on what's happening in the polity. I'm Jeffrey Uzanga. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics.